So I think we've all gotten the advice, stop touching your face, it could make you sick. In case you've never heard it, it's a thing. Basically, it's because your hands come in contact with a lot of germs during the day, and when we touch our faces, specifically the eyes, nose and mouth, it's like opening the doors for germs to get into our system. I mean, think about it. If you touch a doorknob or your phone, a countertop, or even money that's been contaminated, and then you maybe scratch your nose, you've just given pathogens a shortcut into your system. And illnesses like the common cold or the flu could be spread this way. So I had heard this advice, but I didn't really give it much thought until I heard about a study that said people touch their faces 23 times per hour on average. And I thought 23 was a large number. It couldn't possibly be accurate. So I decided I would count how many times I touched my face in a day. And that is what we'll be talking about today. At first, I thought it would be so easy. I mean, all I have to do is notice every time I touch my face and jot it down. Can't be hard. So first, I did a test run. And I call it a test run, even though I didn't know it would be a test run at the time. But basically, on a fateful day, I started counting. And then at some point, I realized that for like 2 to 3 hours that day, I had completely forgotten to keep count. So I decided to try again the next day. And this time I would be more, what's that word again? That word about being aware. Is it knowledge? No, intentional. I decided I would be more intentional this time. So first, I had to figure out what would count as a touch. And since I was focused on the health side, I decided eyes, nose and mouth. So touches to jaws, forehead, chin. Isn't chin and jaw the same thing? Anyway, jaws, forehead, cheek. Yes, that's what I meant to say, cheek. Those will count. And yes, before you ask, I didn't think about this when I tried the first day. See, that's why we are going to call it a test run. Now, with that settled, I decided to set alarms every hour to remind me of what I was doing so I don't forget like I did during the test run. Plus, I specified how long I would be doing it for. So it would be from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. 14 hours. Or at least it was supposed to be from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. But you know what? We'll get into that later. Anyway, with all this figured out, I couldn't wait till the next day to get started. And finally, it was time. I actually woke up a couple of minutes before 6 a.m. But I waited till my alarm went off by 6 to begin. And honestly speaking, it was interesting. See, I used a spreadsheet to keep track and I had a column for time, like each hour, so 6 to 7, then 7 to 8 and so on. Then eyes, nose and mouth touches each had a separate column. Now, in the first hour, I touched my face a total of 18 times. And as you can imagine, I was surprised. I didn't think I touched my face that often. In that hour alone, I touched my nose 12 times. Which kind of makes sense now that I think about it because I do tend to rub or touch my nose a lot. Anyway, I continued keeping track. And at first it was really fun. But then it stopped being fun. See, it turns out that trying to monitor something you usually do unconsciously is exhausting. I didn't know. Nobody told me. See, for the whole day, I was constantly asking myself, did I touch my nose? Where are my hands right now? I can't tell you the number of times I walked around saying 121 or 231 until I could get to my phone and update the spreadsheet. And then at one point, I think it was like a few minutes before 4 p.m., I looked at my time and realized I hadn't been keeping track again. I checked the spreadsheet and saw that for that hour, so from 3 p.m. to basically 4 p.m., I had completely forgotten to keep track. So I asked myself, should I just scrap the entire thing and start afresh the next day? And I answered myself, no. No, I will not. I will not do this another day. Instead, I decided to add an extra hour to make up for the hour I lost. So like I said, it was supposed to be from 6 to 8 p.m., but it ended up being from 6 to 9 p.m. But it was still 14 hours though, because I removed that block of time that I forgot to count. So 3 to 4 doesn't factor at all in the final results. And speaking of results, by the end of the day, I had touched my face a total of 373 times. 373. About 67% were nose touches, 22% were eyes, and 11% were mouth touches, which brings my average to about 26 times an hour. So, the study was right. Now, obviously, there were some hours when I touched my face less, like when I was doing the dishes, for instance, or when I was cooking, or when I was eating. Plus, I did take a short nap at one point. And there were some hours that I touched my face a lot. Actually, now that I think about it, it was always when I was using my phone. I don't know what that means, but it was always when I was using my phone. Anyway, so the result tells me that face touching is a constant thing. I mean, I touched my face 373 times in one day. Till now, I don't know what I was touching the face for. I mean, maybe I felt an itch here or there, but 373 times? So I think face touching is just a habit. It's a constant thing, and it has highlighted the importance of hand hygiene, washing your hands regularly or using hand sanitizer. And also behavioral awareness. See, I for one, am going to try to minimize how often I touch my face. Because 373 times a day? Now, before I go, I feel like I need to talk about two things that could have affected this mini study of mine. The first is the observer effect, which is also known as the Hawthorne Effect. See, generally, when people know they are being studied, they tend to change their behavior, sometimes without even realizing it. Now, for this, I was both the researcher and the subject. So even though I actively tried to act natural, the part of me was hyper aware of my hands. In fact, it's possible that I touched my face more than I normally would, simply because I was aware that I was monitoring myself. And now the next thing is something called the confirmation bias. So this happens when you lean toward a particular result that confirms what you already expect. You see, like I said earlier, when I started it, I didn't believe I touched my face a lot. I expected the number to be low, so that might have subconsciously affected my counting. So if you wanted to study how often we touch our face, I would suggest you study someone else. So watch them and keep count. It's okay to tell them you're studying them. In fact, you should. Just don't tell them the exact thing you're watching. And you can use recording devices as well, even if it's for yourself. That way you can get the footage and watch it later. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. See you next time. Bye.